As you may or may not know, I'm doing a new course called Pure Function. I was talking to one of my friends, John, and he said, somebody said to him, "You're training with Geoff Thompson, aren't you, in the martial arts?" And John said, "Yeah, that's right, I am." And the guy said, critically, "You won't find God through a focus pad." I couldn't stop laughing, because we actually do find God through a focus pad. Otherwise I wouldn't be there. I'd have no intention of going and knitting pads unless I can find God through it. That might sound like a bold claim, but that's the only reason I'm there. The only reason I do my masterclass, my black belt course, and now the Pure Function course, which is like a level up, so it's kind of a level above that, is that I'm looking for God, I'm looking for bliss, I'm looking for pure function. That's what I'm not just looking for it, I'm finding it. So when this it just tells you, doesn't it, how people think. It's really interesting when someone says you won't find God through that. I always find that really funny. I remember reading in the newspaper once someone saying to me, "Yeah, I don't read the horoscopes. My God does not talk to me through the horoscopes." And I'm just thinking, yeah, my God does. He talks to me through everything. He talks to me through the horoscopes. He talks to me through the chatter on the internet. He talks to me through the focus pads. He talks to me through my writing. He talks to me through my teaching. He talks to me through this camera. He talks to me through everything, because he's omniscient and he's omnipotent, and she is omnipresent. So of course he talks to me through everything. There's nowhere that God can't access us through. All things auricular, as they say. This energy can work through everything. So you can be washing pots and pans and connect to bliss through pots and pans. You can be sweeping the floor in the factory and find God there. There isn't anywhere that you can't find it. There isn't anywhere that it isn't. And of course, in the early days, all my training was really just to do with self-defense and, you know, the kind of martial element, which is about designed for war, where we're learning to kill and protect ourselves. And that's the base level. But even that is a search for God, because in learning to defend yourself, you're learning to defend yourself ultimately against yourself, because you go into there realizing that actually these enemies don't exist in the world, they exist in us. They exist as notions and perceptions. They exist as beliefs. So when we do heavy martial arts training, so when we did Animal Day, that was, people said we were thugs and we were villains, and it was like a party for animals. But it actually wasn't. It was actually, we had priests, we had professional solicitors, we had lawyers, we had doctors, we had ordinary members of the public. We had a real mixture, a real culture dish of people from every faith coming to look for the same thing, looking for God. And we found God by dissolving all of the things that stood between us and God, which were just notions and beliefs and fears. And through the Animal Day, we dissolved those and rose immediately up into the Buddha. And then the Buddha is very religious, because the Buddha is about aligning to your source, aligning to your greatest potential, aligning yourself or your soul to the super soul, aligning the microcosm to the macrocosm, aligning the conscious to the unconscious, marrying those two together. So when somebody says, it just makes me smile, when somebody says, "You won't find God through a focus pad." Yeah, well actually we will. That's exactly what we're there to do. But not God in the sense that you're thinking, my friend. We're going to find God in the sense of omnipotence and omniscience and omnipresence. We're going to find the allness at the end of that pad So when I if I get my friend Darren, who's on my last black belt course, or my friend Wayne Poulter, if I get them to hit a pad, you will feel God in the room. Whatever that means to you, you'll feel presence. On the last course we did, I demonstrated this. I said to them, I'm going to show you how to connect to bliss through a focus pad. I'm going to show you how to connect to God, or this feeling, love, presence, from a focus pad. So I got the rhythm going, what in Japanese martial arts they call misogi. I get the physical rhythm going. I connect with Wayne. I hold the pad for Wayne. I meet the punch when we have this amazing exchange of energy. There's about 15 people on the course, and we're in a big communal room. So there's loads of people playing badminton. There's loads of people spectating. There's about 50 or 60 people in the room. I get him hitting the pads. I get the rhythm. He's a professional puncher, Wayne is, and Darren. I get them hitting the pad, and you can, each time it hits the pad, you can hear this boom, this perfect exchange of energy, this pure function, this connection with bliss, this connection with potential, this mastery of an exchange. And when I stop doing the pads after about 15 or 20 repetitions, everybody in the class breaks into spontaneous applause, and I look around and everybody in the room has stopped. All the badminton players have stopped playing badminton, and all the spectators are watching us because they feel God in the room. That's what pure function is. That's what I do. Well, I'm doing a pure function course now, but that's what I do on the masterclass. That's what I do on the black belt course. The gradings are separate. They are almost secondary. When people get caught up with the gradings and what I do on gradings and what I expect on gradings, it tells you their level. It tells you the level they're thinking of. They're thinking from, which is a base level. They're thinking, for me, the gradings and the certificates it's a Trojan horse. It's just somebody to get people to come and train once they're there. So we give them what they think they want, and when they get there we give them what they need, which is a connection to perfection, a connection to bliss, pure function. So all the rest is secondary. And it's not that it's not important. Gradings are important. Certificates have their place. The exchange of physical energy is important. That's how the world runs at the moment. We use a ledger to exchange energy, to keep a check on energy. But that's not why I'm there. That's not enough to get me there. What gets me there is the pure exchange of energy. Now, when I did it with Wayne Poulter and held the pad for Wayne, we got this pure bliss. He said to me afterwards, Wayne was a debt collector. He's a very lovely man, a big lump of a guy. Afterwards he said to me, I seen him on the next session, he said to me, I had to give my job up as a debt collector after that experience. Obviously this has been building up over 12 months. There was a build up to this exchange, and then when we got this pure function, he said I couldn't go and work as a debt collector anymore because I just couldn't, my heart just wasn't there. So Wayne now has gone into full-time teaching. And I'll advise you, anyone that's got a chance to look Wayne up, look him up and train with him. He's brilliant, and you will find pure function through him. He's a beautiful man, and he's got this great energy when he teaches, and when he punches, he's really, really strong. But the presence he felt, the essence he felt, the bliss he felt in that exchange connected him to God. Whatever your perception of God is, it connected him to God. And he was unable to work in the job he was in anymore because there was too much violence in that particular job or in that particular world. There was too much threat, too much darkness for him. This is what he said, and he had to give the job up, and now he's teaching full time. That is the power of pure function. That is the power of the type of training that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in having a fight outside the chip shop. That's 25 years old for me. What I am interested in is pure function. I'm interested in perfection. You know what we do when we hit a pad? We turn up all of our negativity, all of our negative energy, all of those hungry ghosts, all of those subpersonalities, all of those shadows. We churn them all up and we deliver them into a punch. We make them into something beautiful. And the punch we are throwing has got nothing to do with violence. There is no violence in it at all. It is just an exchange of energy. We're just moving energy from here to here. We maybe will only move 8 or 10 inches, but the exchange of energy from subject to object, from my fist to the pad, from my fist to the pad holder, if we get the rhythm right and the massagey right and the training right, we find pure function. That's very exciting. I'll tell you why it's very exciting, because you go away and you think, fucking hell, I want to do that with everything I do. I want to find that pure function with everything I do. I want to find that pure function in my relationships with my wife. Well, first of all, I want to find that pure function in my relationship with me. You know, all those voices we've got talking in our heads all the time, all those shadows, all those old scripts, all that old conditioning, all those old cultural mores chattering away in it all the time, and you know, telling you how unworthy you are and how lazy you are, and saying all negative things that you would never take from anybody else. I want a pure relationship there. I want a pure relationship between all of my 5 bodies, between my authentic self, between my sentinel ego, between my mind body, between my physical and my sensual body. I want an alignment. I want to align myself, as Hermes Trismegistus says in the Hermetica. I want to align myself to divinity. And it sounds dogmatic and it sounds religious when you say it, but that's just because we're not used to the language. It's beautiful language, but it's misheard and misunderstood. When we align to God, it's just like putting a plug into the wall and aligning to electricity. That's it. It's just aligning to a bank of infinite energy, infinite essence, infinite bliss. We align to everything. We have a faucet that aligns our soul or our authentic self to abundance. That's what we are, and we have to open that up. We are the inlet and the outlet for this infinite power. It needs a conduit to come through. It comes through us. So we have a faucet to open up and to bring it in. We have a faucet to bring it out into the world. The faucet to open up at the back is when we open our soul to the super soul, when we open our authentic self to the collective unconscious, when we put the plug into the wall and open ourselves up to the flow of energy. And on the other side, we've got the human will. So we let it in through the authentic self. It comes through, and we let it out through the human will. So God speaks to us through intuition. The only way we can open up to intuition is when we shut everything else down. So we have to shut down the sensual and physical body. We have to still it. We have to quieten the mind and still the mind until it's silent. We have to get rid of all the sub-vocalization. We have to find complete stillness, complete quiet. When all of those things close down, this faucet opens up automatically, and then we become the inlet for massive amounts of information. Everything we ever wanted to know, everything we ever wanted to feel, everything we wanted to understand is accessible to us. So we have to have a very powerful, we have to access intuition by having the ability to close down the thinking mind and the sensual body with all the chattering. We have to have a strong enough will to actually take that information and use it in the world. I'm distracting myself. That's another talk. But so what we're doing through a pure function course or through a martial arts course at the level of Budo is we're connecting to God. We're connecting to bliss. We're plugging into the wall. Then it no longer becomes about throwing a punch which is violent. It's nothing to do with violence. It's not even to do with art. It's just to do with the delivery of energy. It's just to do with the pure delivery of energy. And once we learn to deliver the energy in a perfect form, we have a template. So I say, okay, I've got that template, I know how to do that with a punch, I'm going to learn how to do that with my body. So when I look in the mirror, I should see pure function with my body. My thinking, my saying and my doing should be aligned. Then once I'm aligned with myself, and I've got control of the ego, I've got control of the mind, the software, I've got control of the physical and sensual body, I have that under sovereignty. Once they are aligned, then I can find alignment in my relationship. So my relationship between me and my wife, I can find pure function there. So it's just a pure exchange of energy, a pure intercourse of energy with no interruptions. In my business dealings, I can do exactly the same. I can create a perfect exchange of energy with other business people, and I can find people where I can get that perfect exchange of energy. So business is optimal, and my ability to expand and grow my business is optimized because I know how to make a perfect exchange of energy. I can find perfect alignment with health. So if I've got health issues and there's blocks of energy that are stuck in my body, I can dissolve those through perfect function, through specific exercises, through specific methods of training to align myself to health. So if this stuff doesn't work with our health and with our wealth and with our relationships, it's of no use. What's the use of it? It's no use at all. This stuff needs to work in the world. But we are the stewards of creation. That's what all the Bibles tell us. We are the stewards of creation. We're in charge of this creation. We co-create it and we maintain it. We co-create it, we maintain it, and if we need to, we dissolve elements of it. So to do that, we need to be working with pure function. We need to be working with a pure exchange of energy. When you work with people, say physically with money, you hear lots of people say money's good, money's bad, money's indifferent. Actually, money doesn't even exist. It's just an exchange of energy. So when people say money's terrible and money's evil, again, it just tells you that they are at a very base level of thinking. That opinion, how can money be evil if it doesn't exist? It has no existence at all. It exists as an idea. Physical money, paper money, coin money, or fiat money as they call it, made up numbers, is just something that we all consciously or unconsciously agree on. When we exchange pound notes, it is just a ledger to say this is what I'm owed. It's just a ledger to say who's owed what. But the actual exchange itself is always to do with service or product, which is always just to do with the exchange of energy. Everything is just to do with an exchange of energy. And if we can make that exchange of energy pure, and we can make that exchange of energy proportionate, we become what we should be, which is valuable in the world. We just exchange energy with people all the time. That's how reality exists, as an exchange of energy. So when people say money's evil, that's just a perception. Money doesn't even exist. It hasn't even got a commodity to back it up. Everything is based on perception. So money can't be evil. It's just energy. But if we allow energy to block and we stop the flow of energy, and we don't make our exchanges proportionate, or we make our exchanges impure, so there are dishonest exchanges, then money can become, or the movement of energy can become caustic, and it can create illness, and it can create death. But it's really just perception. So when somebody says you can't find God through a pad, it tells you the level they're thinking at. When somebody says that money is evil, it tells you the level they're thinking at. When people say you're a materialist, it tells you the level they're thinking at. Because we're all materialists. This body is material. The food I eat every day is material. The shoes I walk around in are material. The earth is material. We are not only materialists, we are material. The soul sits inside this machine and uses it as a vehicle. We cannot be alive and not be materialists. It's just about what we do with this materialist reality. So it's my message, I guess, if there's a message at all to you and to myself, is to inquire into these beliefs that we have. So when we say you won't find God through the martial arts, well, maybe you won't, but I do, I have. That's what I teach. You know, when people say money's evil, I say, no, money is God. I'm going to get a fucking t-shirt, money is God. Because it is. It's energy. And we exchange energy. It cannot not be God. Everything is God. Everything comes from the same place. Everything comes from the same, everything is delivered from the same substratum. Everything comes from the same base. It just grows out of the earth. Or it grows out of this chaos. It comes out of this place of abundance. It all comes from the same clay. Just because we make different shapes with it doesn't mean one of them is good and one of them is bad. The only thing that you could contrive as evil is a lack of light or a lack of movement. If I try and hold on to my energy and I keep it under the bed in a biscuit tin, then the energy will atrophy, it will fall back away again. It's not moving. Energy in my body that doesn't move, will create illness. So it's just about the movement of energy and about making sure that we make that energy exchange proportionate and uninterrupted. So when I throw a punch, I teach people to throw an uninterrupted punch. So between subject and object, there is an uninterrupted flow of energy that will create bliss. So when you hear it in a room, boom, you'll hear God. You'll feel the perfect exchange. And then we teach people to take that into every aspect of their life. It's a very exciting time to be looking at this kind of stuff. So we will find God through a pad. We do find God through a pad because He's there. He's in everything. She is everything.